Hello, and welcome to another Unmasked episode of So What's on Your Mind? I'm your host, Lamar Barrett, and today we're reaching out to the best sports sideline reporter I know I've ever seen. I think a lot of people agree with that. Best sports journalist and writer in the business. He has spent more than 30 years in the profession covering sports for Turner Sports, ESPN, NBA, NBA TV, NBA.com, the Washington Post, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and currently he's with the Athletic. And oh, by the way, you go back and I always, kind of referencing. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. And by the way, he was awarded the Kurt Gowdy Media Award by the Naismith Hall of Fame back in 2016. But we're here to find out what is going on in his world, from politics to life, education, sports, music, health, or anything he wants to talk about. Today's guest, and I always say he's a young man. He definitely is that I had a chance to meet 12 years ago now when I went to American University as an assistant coach. And then what I've soon realized that he is the biggest American University fan on the planet. And it's not just basketball either. He's a fan of all sport at the university. He supports all sports, and he raves about his alma mater to everyone. I've had the luxury, today of speaking with a gentleman that I've been watching for a long time and actually reading a lot of his stuff and having a relationship with him for more than 12 years now. And so it's because I can pick up the phone, I can text David, and I can ask him all these things, and he gets back to me right away. So, that's a real relationship. But I want to welcome to the show a friend of mine, David Aldridge. Good morning to you, David. And one question I just want to ask is, so what's on your mind?
Man, that's a big question. That's a big question, LB. I would say, I think it's a lot of things on my mind, actually. But, if you want me to narrow it to a couple of things, I mean, it obviously, I cover sports all the time and different sports, and that's how I earn a living. And it's a lot of fun and I love it. But definitely, am thinking about this upcoming election and the importance of how this goes and where it's going to leave our country. So, certainly I would encourage any of especially the young people that watch this, younger folks that are watching this, to really be ready to vote. And I have my preferences, but I'm not going to express them to you. You vote for whoever you want, but I just think it's important for you to go out and vote. I think that's the most important thing. And to, understand that you have to fight for things in this country. Like, things aren't given to you. You got to fight for your rights. You got to fight for your freedom. You got to fight for democracy. And to have those things in mind when you go to the ballot box, because, you look around the world and see what's going on in Ukraine and other places where people are literally fighting for their lives. We are very, very blessed and fortunate to be in this country. So the system of government and checks and balances that we've set up is something that we have to take seriously. And if we abandon it, then we can go real quick, like everybody else. So, I want people to really think about what's going on in this country and understand that democracy is something that we have to kind of affirm every couple of years. We can't just assume that it's going to continue. We have to go out and actively support it and fight for it. And so there are people who frankly would be very happy if people like you and me, LB, didn't vote. People who look like us didn't vote. If women didn't vote, so we have to understand that and be mindful of it and use the one thing that we do have in this country, which is the right to vote. And I get into arguments with people about this sometimes because they, They're like, well, you have to convince me to vote. You have to inspire me to vote. You have to give me a reason to vote. And I always look at that kind of, I don't know. I'm very much opposed to that, because too many people who look like you and me literally died so that you and me could vote. Okay. So like, they gave their lives in service of the rights of African-American people to vote and not have to pay a poll tax and not have to try and guess the number of jelly beans in a jar to be allowed to vote. So I don't take this lightly. And I don't think any person of color should take the right to vote lightly, because ask people around the world if they like to have the right to vote to determine their self-government, their own form of government. And I think you get a very different story than we have here. So that's what's on my mind as we get close to this election, is that I really am concerned about the direction of the country. And I want to make sure that people use the one tool that they really have to kind of protect themselves and to say, this is what I want as a U.S. citizen.
Well, hey, Dave, I appreciate that. That was very powerful. I think people need to hear. I think, and this is what this platform is for, is like what people need to hear, not what they want to hear. And I, and it's like you took away. You didn't have didn't talk about sport, which is great, but this is going to be more powerful than any sport, going forward. Like you said, it's what do we fight? We've got to fight for things in this country. And I think that was powerful. And I appreciate your time this morning for coming on, talking about that. And I'm sure we'll reach not just, our generation, but the younger generation. Yeah. And they need to understand the importance of voting for your rights. So I appreciate you, man. Anytime I can get with you. By the way, I'm probably going up to American University to practice today, get a sneak peek. So a little bit more invested. My nephew is over there with Coach Brennan, with Mike. Okay. So I'm gonna probably get over there today and see them before I start taking off and and going to watch probably 130 college games this year. So, but I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it.
My pleasure, LB. Anytime, bro.
All right.
Wait, who's your name?